Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to today's midweek live stream. I have a few questions that you guys wrote in. I'm just checking to make sure in my DMs if there's any questions, even more questions. But also, if you're watching live, ask your questions. And I'm just gonna get started. Hello, I comment to make you angry. Good to see you. Back this up. Okay. So I'm going to jump right into the questions that I got in DMs or that people were asking through my story. Hello, hello. So the first one is, okay, I had a client. You are always here. You are always here. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. So this happened to a client recently, and I get this pretty frequently. I would say at least once a week, but I got it a couple times this week. And it's this thing of like they the narcissist did things I couldn't even imagine. Like I didn't think that they would go there. They will go there. And this is particularly in the breakup phase of things when you have decided that okay, for real, I'm ending it this time. They don't like that. And narcissists are very afraid. They're afraid of intimacy, but they don't like abandonment either. So that's why they break up with you first. They'll push you away and everything, but they do things to just loop you back in all the time and when they're looping you back in, they don't actually want to be with you or care about you. They just want to use you as supply and know that like if they could get you back, that's possible. It's just whatever for their ego, and it's ego supply. But when you're actually really done with them, that's when they start to rage because they can't manipulate or control you or use you as supply because that's all they see you as. So this is the phase where they can start to do things that you would never imagine, right? So I've heard everything. I've heard like fake like restraining orders, smear campaigns. They're always doing a smear campaign saying terrible things like defamation and everything, but it could get really bad. Getting people arrested, things like that. That's why I'm saying always have a clean breakup. Just be swift and sure with it. Swift and sure, always. And that's going to be the best. And yes, they're going to, even if you block them, they're going to probably try to loop back with contacting you in different ways, but you just have to be swift and sure and stay strong. Do not let these people back in because they're in the hoovering phase. A narcissist will start to look for ways to, even if they say that they hate you and they broke up with you for good, they're watching you and they're seeing if they could get you back at some point. And it is to know that they could still manipulate and control you or that like you still want them. It's an ego-based thing, I promise you. So all I'm saying is to make sure when you decide to break up with them or in the relationship in any type of way that it is clean and done. And this also goes for work situations. It's like don't do this half kind of thing like okay, well maybe I'll still have them as a client, maybe this and that, like being on that. No, we're doing a very clean breakup with them, because I promise you it will, unfortunately, it will not end well for you if you try to keep things murky. And the narcissist will always try to keep things murky just because they want some type of control and manipulation over you. That's it, which sucks. They don't care about you. None of it. So please remember that. And with this one client in particular, I'm like, he didn't do that. Okay, so things got super messy. And it's like, I wish you would have listened to me in the first place, but that's okay. Like sometimes we have to learn. We have to like live and learn. But I just, if you watch my content, especially if you're in one of my courses or one of my clients, like I will tell you ahead of time. And sometimes my clients or my course students, they don't believe me. And then I'm like, look, and then it happens. And I'm like, see, I wasn't wrong. I know this very well. I specialize in personality disorders. I know what I'm talking about up in these streets. It'd be like going to a mechanic and be like, are you sure that's wrong with I don't know, maybe it's this that's wrong with my car. No, I promise you this is what's going on. So yeah, just have a really clean ending with things. they can kick and scream and get mad. It's okay. Everyone can have their reactions. And I say that because a lot of times it's almost like we're trained or brainwashed when we're getting out of a narcissistic or toxic relationship to react to their rage or their negative behavior by being like, okay, okay, I'll placate, I'll listen, I'll just do what you say. No, 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 none of that. Okay. Um, so yeah, make sure that you keep things very clean. Let me go to the comments real quick. Da, 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 da. I heavily support you. You know what you're saying, and you say it with confidence. You don't say what people want you to hear. Yeah, that's for sure. Um, just get just get paid. I respect that. Thank you. Hi, Maria. Hi, Miss Priya. I saw your comment that made my cortisol spike. I took a breath. I saw a comment that made my cortisol spike. I took a breath and went to the fitness center and did a squat workout. Felt relief. Hell yeah. Let's celebrate that, Miss Priya. You must be so proud of yourself. So instead of going into that old pattern, where you would get in a fighting war in the comment section, you did something healthy. And then after a while, you won't even want to go to the comment section. You won't even want to get that like cortisol spike because you guys, your brain could be addicted to cortisol. And cortisol is like the stress hormone that makes us store belly fat and makes us tired and age us. And it's like, oh, I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to, but we can be consciously and unconsciously addicted to cortisol, to stress. So it's these moments like this that Miss Priya is talking about like, okay, well, when I go into the comment section, I rage and I find something that spikes my cortisol. So instead noticing it first that that's what's happening, and then doing a different behavior, right? Positive pattern disruption, and then doing a different behavior. So now you're associating social media with something else. And before you know it, Miss Priya, you'll be able to just go on social media and only be on there for like 5 or 10 minutes, get something. Geez, I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm back. Oh, um, okay. Anyway, Miss Priya, I'm super proud of you. I love that. I'm so proud of you, Miss Priya. Um, how do you know that your cortisol spikes? Because you get stressed and you're upset and you could feel it in your nervous system. Your shoulders tense up, your stomach. It's a flight or fight response. So a lot of things could happen. You can get sick. You're angry, you're restless, you're upset, you're anxious. All of those things are cortisol spikes. I comment to make you angry. I have something to share. You do. Let's hear it. I made cupcakes um and one of them for breakfast this week. Now I feel a certain way. I'm trying to cut. Okay, well, you know what? You can splurge. It's all good. Um, I comment to make you angry. I'm 230 trying to get to 210. Well, you know what I recommend for that is in terms of supplements is NMN. I personally would only take the brand Catacor because a lot of supplements are crap. I recommend supplements to my core students a lot. Actually, I have It's like a program, it's a little program, I think it's like 19 bucks, but, it's called Keto Zen, and it has, like, everything. It has every grocery list, every supplement, everything that is have to do has to do with, like, health, weight loss, getting the body composition you want, and also the mindset part of it. So that is available to you. I think it's in the if you go into the link on my link tree, it's in there and it's called Keto Zen. And yeah, that'll help get you on track. But yeah, NMN is something, it just speeds up your results and also does great stuff for your skin. It's NMN is what boosts NAD levels in your body, and so it's called the youth hormone or the youth molecule, which is in your body naturally, but we start to lose a lot of it as we age. And also when you're in stressful situations. So when I have students or clients that have gone through like a very stressful, toxic relationship, that is one of the things that I recommend to them. I do remember that you're taking NMN, but the brand Catacor is the best. Catakor. If you go on my TikTok, you'll see a bunch of stuff for Catacor on there. So yeah, that's definitely Catacor is definitely a supplement, especially like when your body's been through a lot of stress. Astaxanthin's another good one for that. But yeah, I have all these listed in Keto Zen, but in the program Keto Zen. But also just like sleep, just regulating your sleep. Do not take melatonin, take glycine, magnesium, glycine. And most of us are magnesium deficient. So also getting the magnesium back up is a good thing. Um, let's see. Yeah, if you're new here, just drop a question if you want. I'm gonna read some of the more questions too. Yeah, L-theanine and GABA are great too for sleep. Ashwagandha is good too. Um, yeah, so I definitely recommend those for sleeping. Okay, let's see. But yeah, if you go on my TikTok, I'm starting to do a lot more with brands I recommend um, in terms, especially that have to do with like mental health and stuff. And so another question I got was um, about so they're like dating someone and they feel like that they're growing apart because this person is actively working on themselves a lot and then the other person doesn't go to therapy, doesn't really have any type of relationship with God, source, whatever you call it, just like no like spiritual, which is like those things are interconnected, right? Because as you evolve, and especially if you've been through something that was very traumatic or hard, it will bring you in more alignment with whatever you call your higher power, God, source, and everything. And there's a reason that the more people evolve and enter these like higher states of consciousness through evolving, through personal development, they become more aligned with and aware of God or your higher power, whatever it is. And so when you are around people that just don't want to work on themselves at all, don't care to do any type of personal development or self-improvement, it's kind of like you don't have anything in common with it. It starts to be like, and so that, but it can be very lonely. That phase of like, okay, well, I don't have anything in common with you anymore. I don't want to complain or like eat crappy food or watch the news or do all these things, these lower vibrational things. So your friends can shift. They can shift, and then the interest that you have and the people that you attract, it will shift. And like some people will drop out of your life as you are on your personal development journey. That will shift, and that's okay. Just let it like, and I know that what I'm saying is like there will be a phase where it feels lonely, and that's okay because things are recalibrating in your life, and you'll notice that you'll just start to have better friends. Your work environment will get better clients if you work for yourself. Just things will get better, and your finances will get better. Your health will get better. So, but it's just like, you know, it happens also when you go on a big health journey, you start to get really healthy. You don't want to hang out with the people that you would just binge eat with and that don't want to go to the gym and take care of themselves. It becomes really unattractive and unappealing. So Yeah, like, if you the more y the deeper you get into your personal development journey, you're gonna realize that it's really difficult to connect with people, especially like a romantic partner, because you spend a lot of time with your romantic partner. So it's gonna be difficult to connect with someone who's not doing any type of personal development. Also, it's gonna show up because like especially in a romantic relationship, conflict comes up. And conflict, if it's done in a good way, you want healthy conflict resolution. I don't like when people are like, "Oh yeah, we never fight." That's not normal. That's not healthy. That means some stuff's getting suppressed. It's not about, and I'm not talking about fighting, like yelling and everything, but conflict and conflict resolution deepens intimacy. Healthy conflict resolution will deepen intimacy. So it's easier to have um healthy conflict resolution when you're dealing with someone who is also working on themselves and also has some type of um, self-development and awareness. Otherwise, it can feel really lonely because it's like that person doesn't want to take accountability or maybe unaware. But a lot of times, people that don't go to therapy, I find they have like blocks around taking accountability. I learned that a long time ago. Like, especially if you're dating, I would highly recommend, and you do have a relationship with God or whatever you call your higher power, and you also are very interested and you understand how important it is to constantly, do some form of self-development, I would ask that on a date. Like, what's your spiritual orientation? Not that they have to be religious, but just ask them, like, leave it open. Like, what's your relationship with God? I just say, what's your spiritual orientation? And also, like, do you go to therapy? Do you do any type of personal development? Like, are you at least reading a book? But doing like some form of therapy or coaching is very different because you're getting feedback from a human being, that if it's a good therapist or coach, they'll say things that are, uncomfortable that maybe you don't want to hear or maybe you have blind spots around. But someone that is working with someone like that, that's a very good sign that they can take accountability and that they're really interested in growing emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, all of those things as a person. So they're able to take some type of accountability and look at themselves and also take like outside feedback. You never want to deal with people that can't take any outside feedback, right? Because narcissists, for instance, love to do that. They love to project onto you, but they don't take responsibility for anything. So, what's that type of dynamic look like? That's a really toxic and stressful cycle. Miss Priya, I'm dealing with a person who is a real nice to me one day, then the next day they insult me. It's like a cycle. Yeah, so the toxic personality, I just call them toxic personalities, but the narcissist, borderline, the personality disorders do that. But narcissists love to do that. First they pull you in. So the real nice to me is like the love bombing, the idealization phase, as we call it in psychology. So, oh my God, you're amazing. Da, da, da. And so what does that do? That gets your serotonin and your oxytocin really high. And it literally mimics the effects that drugs have on your nervous system and brain. So you're like, oh, and you're kind of feeling more open and vulnerable and like, okay, I could let this person in. And then boom, the devaluation phase comes in, the cortisol level spikes, and it's this very shift, like very dramatic shift in hormones that is very stressful psychologically and physically and emotionally, of course. And it is a toxic cycle. So what happens when the devaluing comes in? You are jonesing for that idealization drug, that love bombing drug. It's like, oh no, what happened when I was on a pedestal and I was really nice? Let's bring that back. And like that's also like the primitive part of your brain, like looking for safety. Like, give me that safety, and let me know that I'm not abandoned. So just so you know that on that level, like your nervous system level, that's what your brain is trying to do, because the primitive part of your brain is just trying to keep you safe. So it doesn't understand like, oh, this guy's a narcissist and a dick, let's not hang out with him, because that would make logical sense. The part of your brain that is like just afraid of abandonment and thinks like this is like your tribe and you're going to be abandoned and left in the woods to start, that's what that part of your brain is thinking. So you have to override that with first breathing deeply so your cortisol can calm down. a lot, and I'm just literally like, for at least a minute, breathe deeply so that rational part of your brain can take over, because right now you're like in limbic system, like fight or flight, oh my god, abandonment, like that type of thing. We got to get you out of there. So breathing deeply, as simple as it sounds, is the first thing you need to do. And then you need to realize what's going on and that you're dealing with someone that is providing intermittent reinforcement. And do you want that? You get to say to yourself that kindness, love, gets to be consistent. And any relationship, I recommend to my clients to say this all the time. Say this to yourself: I get to have consistently safe and consistently healthy relationships that feel safe and healthy and supportive to me. Not sometimes, not this push and pull thing. You get to make a decision, Miss Priya, that right now, from this moment on May 6th, 2026, like from this moment forward, you only attract and bring into your life, but also tolerate, like your standards are, if you want to be in my life, you need to be consistently supportive and stable and loving. Not that the person has to be perfect all the time, but you know the difference between like push and pull energy. And then your other thing to do is to realize, because we could also have unconscious addictions to this. And what I mean by that is, like, maybe you had a parent that was like this, or a caretaker, and so from a very young age, your child brain was like, "Oh my god, this is my association with love. It's push and pull, it's push and pull." And you as a child, if this happened to you, you were like always trying to earn your parents' love, because if you're doing that, then they would be safe, then they would be calm, when that's actually not the child's responsibility, and the child actually doesn't have control over the parent. But when you deal with a parent that's inconsistent like that, that's what you think. So really deciding, and this is where some good inner parent work could come in. You could access your inner parent. So we have inner children, but you also could access your inner parent, and your inner parent can tell you today, Miss Priya, today, that like, oh, you could just you maybe you didn't get consistent love and support when you were whatever age, but now you get to have it in every relationship. Anyone that comes into your life gets to be consistently supportive and loving and stable. I comment to make you angry. That just sounds like flirting. Okay. Um, like I tell people, weeds are consistent. Weeds are meant to be plucked. They don't plant seeds and thorns and expect them to be an abundant crop. Yeah. Um, yeah, but some people have unconscious patterns. That's the point. Um, the quote should sound familiar. Miss Priya, would do this. Childhood friends would do this too, was my first experience. They would treat me poorly and give me a story to make me feel sympathy for them. Yeah, that's okay. Well, that's good awareness that you understand the root, or that's your earliest memory of that. And that probably perpetuated, like, okay, so someone gets to just treat me however they want to. So belief probably formed in childhood that someone gets to just treat me however they like, and they make excuses for it, or I have to take on the responsibility of their behavior through forgiving them and giving them sympathy, right? That's reverse victim. In the Darvo, that's reverse victim. And so instead of taking any type of accountability, they give you their sob story, their excuse, or sometimes the reverse victim is just like, I wouldn't have done that if you didn't treat me this way. Okay, you wouldn't have yelled, you wouldn't have screamed or treated me like this. So it's my fault. Your behavior is my fault. Yeah, that's not a thing. Or if they have some sob story, like whatever, you can say that's fine. We can deal with that. Like when people try to do that, I always say that you a good response, if you have to communicate with them and they're like, "Oh, well, I just did that because of this." Okay, fine. I'm really sorry that your grandma's dog died, and we could talk about that later. But right now, we're talking about how you behave towards me, and that's not acceptable no matter what. Okay, because when my grandma's dog dies, I don't do that, and I expect the same. treatment. And it's also really important to tell people that you don't have a tolerance for that, especially if you're in a marriage or a long-term relationship, or a work situation. You just need to make it very clear that you don't tolerate that behavior. End of story. Boom. Like mic dropped, we're done. And then you have to walk the walk and not tolerate that behavior. So there's no responding to it. But at the end of the day, you want to get out of feedback loops and unconscious patterns where you're attracting these inconsistent people. That, I mean, that is a form of emotional abuse where they're very inconsistent like that, and they could treat you however they want to and then not take accountability for it. So you want someone that could show up and be accountable. And also that means that they actually care about you, because someone that's doing that doesn't even care about themselves, so they certainly don't care about you, unfortunately. Hi, Peter. Hey, Lauren, just got done with work. That's nice. Were you talking about me in terms of trying to please parents? Hope everyone's week is going well. I think that's the last word. I wasn't. You know what's so funny is that I will make a post or something and they're like, "Is that post about me?" Like a client or someone I know. I'm like, "No," because these things are so common, you know? And I hope that makes you know that you're not alone. We were not talking about you, Peter, but it is a common dynamic for in childhood, you have these inconsistent parents, these mentally ill parents, or parents that just, there's a word going around called emotionally immature. It's really like you had parents that had chose to not have any type of accountability or self-awareness with their behavior, right? And so they project it onto their children. So all of their bad behavior is their fault. And you need to fix me and you need to do all of these things, right? And so children take that on and they're like, okay, so if I behave a little bit better, then they'll be nicer. If I behave a little bit better, then I'll be safe. Like you have to earn your safety and you have to earn your love. Safety and love are not earned as those should be freely given. And a lot of us do have childhoods where we did not receive that. We were told, and like we were programmed from a young age, that we have to earn love and safety and support and respect. So that is what's going on. But what's wonderful is that any time you can realize that that's the case, and that your parents did what they did, whether they were doing the best they could or not, it really doesn't matter. They made their choices, and that's what happened in the past. And the wonderful thing is that the past is actually not happening. So all we have right now is this present moment, and we could create something completely new right now, especially with the awareness and then taking accountability and creating that positive pattern disruption. So when you notice that you're falling into those old patterns, old toxic patterns in relationships, you could be like, oh, that thing is happening again. I'm just running an old program in the background. Like it's like, oh, it's Windows 98 and it's really glitchy right now and it's really not great for my life. So why don't I upgrade my system? So let me just uninstall that program of not supportive people and having to feel like I earn love and like I have to do all of these things to get like a little bit, like, and then you get that little bit of breadcrumbs and you make a feast out of crumbs. It's like, no, none of that anymore. Let's see. I had a question for you. I know why I come here. Why are you here? Be honest. Haha. um, okay. So yeah, it's great to see all of you. And great questions so far. And then the other two were in the DMs. And I'm gonna grab a sip of water. But yeah, write your questions if you have them. I'm gonna mute myself so you don't hear me gulp. Okay. And the other thing is, and this is so common. This is so common, especially when I'm working with people that are getting out of toxic relationships, have had a cycle of just attracting narcissists. Um, and I really wish more people knew that you will make more money when you get out of these toxic patterns. And you don't have to like complete, like if you're in a long-term relationship right now with a narcissist, or it's a work environment. I'm not saying like you have to leave for this to happen. I'm just saying that once you realize that, okay, you're in a toxic pattern with someone like this, you're dealing with a narcissist, and you can start to work on healing that and like dealing with it differently instead of just repeating the old cycle over and over again, you will start to make more money. You will feel more empowered. Every single person I've worked with, every single course student I've had has happened to them. They start to, all of a sudden they get that promotion, or they, get more clients in their business, or their whatever generates more money, because they're not giving all of their power away. And also narcissists love to put you down about everything, include especially your job. You spend a lot of your life working, like in your job, whatever your job is, and so they love to put that down. And so once you decide to take your power back in that way and heal all of the things around toxic relationships, whatever drew you to them, once you really heal that, you will start to make more money. I promise you. And it's not even really make more money, you'll start to receive more money. So, like, for instance, let's say you own a business, like the clients are already there. You just start to get more clients, or that promotion will just come in, or that bonus, like there's just such an energetic shift, because also you're not leaking your energy from this energy vampire that's like draining you all the time, that you're constantly like worrying about how to please and keep the peace and all of that. And your nervous system isn't on like 12 all the time trying to deal with that. You've taken all of your energy and power back. And then all of a sudden, it's almost unconscious. Like the clients start coming in, everything just starts to come back. And it's also because your self-worth, when you start to do the internal work, in any type of self-improvement thing, your self-worth starts to incrementally increase. And so when that happens, that's directly connected with how much money you allow into your life. So I really wish more people knew that. And like, there is somewhere on your healing journey where that happens, but it can happen faster. That's all I'm saying. And it also, when you don't have someone attempting to brainwash you about how dumb and stupid all of your dreams are, you can start to focus on your dreams and the things and your purpose and whatever that is. And narcissists hate that, because if you are focused on your purpose, first of all, they hate themselves and they have so much guilt and shame about everything. So when you're connected to your purpose, you feel very alive and confident. They don't like that. They don't want you to feel that way at all. And if you feel connected to your purpose, then and then you're giving that energy, then that's not energy for them. And this is also why narcissists don't like when kids come around, even if they're like, even if they use children to like whatever, take all their Facebook photos with and like act like something on social media. They actually don't like anything that takes attention away from them, which is sad. But yeah, you start to get excited about your life, and you just have this sense of self-worth that the narcissist or toxic person was literally trying to take away from you, and use that and keeping your self-esteem low to manipulate and control you. Like, oh, you're lucky to be with me, you can never live your purpose, like all the things that they say to you, that starts to dissipate, and you start to really understand how powerful you are and how exciting your purpose is and all of the things. So that is a very, very powerful part of anyone's personal development, healing journey, evolution journey, whatever you want to call it, is when that happens, is when you really start to take your power back. And then it's just everything lines up. Everything just starts to happen. The health, wealth, relationships, everything, the career, they all get better because everything's interconnected. So, Peter, question. I'm journaling, but I'm using journaling prompts that I use. Any good prompts I should use or write what I feel? I mean, journaling, if journaling prompts are good if you're stuck, but it totally depends on. In my course, there's like a ton of journaling prompts. There's so many, and it's a good way to get things going. But um, it would totally it's dependent on what's going on with you. But I don't know, like journaling, like if it's something that you don't know, like if you don't know what you're feeling, I would say, like, if you're feeling stuck or something, you could say, okay, where in my body am I feeling this way? Or am I feeling congested? Or am I feeling stuck? Because again, your nervous system, your brain doesn't stop here. It goes down your spinal cord and all the way out through your nervous system. So you can feel things in your body. It's kind of like, okay, what is that telling me? Or if you have anxiety about something and you can't locate it, be like, okay, I have anxiety. I feel it in my chest. And when what do I associate anxiety with? Well, I associate it with conflict. I don't like having conflict. So it's about journaling is about self exploration, and it's also about processing things. So if your journaling is going well, just keep doing that. But journaling prompts are, there's standard ones like what are my intentions for the day, which I always recommend. Like my intentions for the day are to X, Y, and Z. And if you're like really like I don't know what to write, just write health, wealth, relationships, career, spirituality, relationship with God, and just put one intention. And then it's like, okay, do I have any reservations about any of these? Why? Oh, maybe because I don't feel like my worthiness is where it should be, or maybe because I just feel like everything in that area has been stuck. Well, what if it wasn't stuck? So just exploring it. But if you want a lot of good journal prompts, I would download my course, which is called Healing Thriving After Narcissistic and Toxic Relationships. Um, yes, Pete, we love you. Um, um, what if you're in middle school? Okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Good to see you guys and connect with you. Um, so yeah, no, just asking whether God. We're all healing from something, even if we don't, and it's not even like healing, it's also just we're always trying to upgrade, right? We always want to be better versions of ourselves, because if you're not doing some type of self-improvement, you're declining. And I do think that's a problem when people are like, "Oh, I don't do any type of self-development or never really thought about it," blah, 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 you know? I I don't know, like, if you have a spiritual connection, if you're on any type of self-improvement journey, it's gonna be hard to connect with people, and you'll notice, like, those type of people don't take accountability for themselves, or they're doing the same shit, like, 5, 10 years later. I think I've talked to you guys I told you guys about, an I don't one of my narcissistic exes who's a covert narcissist, which means, like, that they, like, have all these friends, and they're very, like, a lot of people will they'll get feedback that they're fake a lot because they have all these superficial relationships, but just beneath that, like, anyone that comes close to them, they start treating like shit. It's still narcissistic stuff. It just looks like, "Oh, I'm so nice," or, "Oh, I'm a victim," on the outside. So anyway, but we have friends in common, and then so he whatever, called me one day, like, 7 years later, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm still doing the same thing." Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are, because it's too scary to look at yourself, because you're an emotional coward. So, and it's not even, he was describing himself as like, oh, I'm the same, like, haha, I guess I'm just not good at relationships. And it's like, actually, you've gotten worse. It was actually super sad to see someone like that, like, to just, it's like you've like literally declined, and you're like kind of, I don't know, pathetic, because you're not doing anything to you're just arguing for your limitations, like, oh yeah, blah blah, because it's too scary to take accountability for anything and have a real relationship and look at yourself, and look at what's really going on with you, which in his case, he was a narcissist, and he was like DL, so, and still is, like, he just doesn't want to, anyway, I guess, admit that. So that would be hard if you're secretly gay. Hi James. Hi Lauren. Glad to be on the live stream. Love you. Love you too, James. Good to see you. Let me know if you have any questions or you have a win. I love the win that Miss Priya was talking about. That was kind of like a little assignment I gave her on Sunday, was this like, okay, when you're gonna get triggered by the comment section, can you go take a walk? Can you do some squats? And that's what she did. And I'm so proud of you, Miss Priya. Peter has a win. I stood my ground at work, in a work conversation and just left it at that. Good. It was uncomfortable, but I did it. Woo! We love that. Snaps. That's so wonderful, Peter. Congratulations. That is a major win. Um, because maybe, especially in a work environment, I think people get used to like, oh yeah, Peter's like this. He'll stand down. And it's good that you did it. They saw that, okay, this is your new standard. This is the way you um are showing up, and that you are saying that you are like not demanding, but you are being treated now. I love that. I know that was difficult for you, Peter. So, super proud of you. And yeah, and you know what? Also, Peter, that was a new behavior for you, but I promise it will get more comfortable. I promise, like, soon it will be like that wasn't even a big deal. So, yes, nice. Um, Lauren is the female me. I'm prettier. She says the light version. Okay, whatever. Attaboy, Peter. Yes, we're proud of Peter. Um, what's the non-light version? Yeah. um, yeah, I wouldn't listen. I comment to make you angry. Love you, but how about I give the advice? Okay. Because I don't know. James, I did 8 hours of work, went to the gym, did back and shoulders, read Bible, passed. Oh, nice. Proverbs part, nice. Psalms. Oh, I love that. What a good way to like feed your mind and body. I love that. And then, career, like all of it. It's like you hit everything. That's nice. Hope you I don't if that was today, that's great. And then, you could have a good night's sleep tonight. I freaking love that. Good job, James. And it feels really good, like, you to take care of yourself on all of those levels, physically and spiritually, and, put in a good work day. It feels good. Um, and what I also like about that is, like, it's the opposite of numbing out, right? Not that there's anything wrong with, like, TV and those type of things, but, like, I think connecting spiritually, it's like then the other, like, numbing out stuff doesn't even feel appealing. So I love that. Congratulations. Good call on that, whatever it is. Hope it does heal. You called it. You called it on Lauren not liking. What don't I like? You called it on Lauren not liking what? What don't I like? Anyway, let me know if you guys have any other wins, or you're so welcome. I'm really happy for you, James. Um, yeah, Peter, we don't know what you're talking about. Elaborate. Oh, in terms of him giving advice, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm here for. Create this space for you, so I can, answer your questions, which is a form of advice. Um, and, take it or leave it, or take what you like and leave the rest. That's what I say about anything. Any book that you read, anyone that you listen to, take what you like and leave the rest. If something is triggering you that someone says, sometimes it's good to look at your triggers are your teachers. So if something is triggering you, it is trying to teach you something. I promise you that. Um, so you might want to look at that. Lauren's awesome. I listen to what she says. Thank you. You're awesome too. Let's see. Those were the main questions I got today. And, the first thing that I said about the first question I answered about, like, this whole, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that they did that," type of thing with the narcissist, like, doing these over the top things when you are in the final stages of, like, breaking up with them. It's, um it's it's a form of, like, setting boundaries, right? Because narcissists always push boundaries. They always push boundaries. And so when you're breaking up with them, it's kind of like their ultimate, like, last, like, "Oh, really? I don't have control over you? I'm gonna bring it up a notch. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna," it could, like, involve legal stuff. So I'm just saying, make a clean break, you guys. I just saying that for your own good. Make it as clean, swift, and sure is how you want to break. I mean, that's not really how you want to end any relationship. Be swift and sure. Don't be wishy-washy. And then also um yeah, like no going back, no talking to them, no, they'll try to loop you back in. Don't do that. Peter, that was my second option at work. Yeah, no, I'm really glad that you stood your ground and walked away, and that's exactly what I recommend to you guys. You just say what you have to say and then walk away. There's nothing else, especially if you're dealing with someone that's toxic and they're trying to manipulate and do all of the manipulation tactics. You just have to say what you need to say and walk away. And sometimes in, romantic relationships or family, they'll kick and scream and bully and bulldoze as a form of manipulation. You just don't react to it. Those things, as, like, irritating as they can only have power if you give them power. Like, every dynamic is co-created, and if you're not giving that part of the dynamic, it can't exist. I know it's like, "But they're doing this, they're triggered," but you're allowing yourself to be triggered, right? Or you're allowing yourself to have that reaction. And you could have the reaction. This is another thing that's great about working with a coach. You can have that reaction, but vent somewhere else. If you're not working with someone, journal, do something, but do not give them a reaction. They all they want is a reaction. Don't give it to them, please. Um, yes, good job. That is a great win, Peter. Proud of you. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions. I'll check my DMs one more time. And if not, we'll wrap up on this beautiful Wednesday. And also, you can guys let me know like the goals for your rest, like how you're going to finish the rest of the week. What are you going to report to me on Sunday about? Like, what are your intentions from now until Sunday? In terms of like if there's something you want to get done, if you want to continue to like stay committed to those new standards. If you're new here, we talk a lot about like literally writing down your standards for every area of your life and then committing to them. And like really like saying like, okay, I'm whatever your name is. So I'm Lauren and I work out every day. I always have this amount in my bank account or more. My relationships are stable and secure and loving and there's reciprocity in them. Whatever it is, it could be I mean, it could be about anything. I only eat this type of food that's, good for me or doesn't make my stomach hurt or whatever it is. Um, I remember when I was in 4th grade, I used to get bullied and they ripped my shirt. My dad beat me with a belt and told me every time they hit me. Well, that's terrible. I'm sorry. That is abusive, and that is not how you they left me alone soon after that. Yeah, that's not great. I'm glad you're not in that situation. James says, Stay sober, stoic, diligent, and pure." I love that. I love that. That sounds very like keeping your mind and body focused and clear. Perfect. I freaking love that, James. Um, is it weird since is it weird since it's new? My inner critic has been generally quiet these days. That's great. That's great. I mean, inner critic, the less you give your inner critic energy, the less the less power it has. And the more you realize you are not your inner critic. Those are a set of programs and messages that you got somewhere that aren't true. And the inner critic, sometimes we start believing lies, aka the inner critic. um, now that I want not that I want it to pop up, maybe waiting for the right opportunity. It'll come and go. It'll come and go, but Peter, I'd rather you focus on the fact and celebrate the fact that your inner critic isn't loud. And the only reason that your inner critic isn't loud is because you're giving it less energy. And you're noticing that those are lies and any form of fear is false evidence appearing real. Um, it's not true and it's not you. So I would just celebrate that. I mean, even being like, okay, when's the inner critic gonna come? And you know what I subconsciously might be going on by even asking that question is kind of like, oh, it's not okay for things to go well. I need something bad to happen because we can unconsciously be addicted to suffering. So I feel like there's like a little bit of like your nervous system's like, okay, where's my cortisol hit? Where's my code? So I would repeat affirmations like robotically, just like to yourself, like as much as you can until it sinks into your subconscious that it's okay to be safe. It's okay for things to be peaceful. Being peaceful is my normal state. Being peaceful feels really good. Peace is my normal state. Feeling relaxed and peaceful is normal for me. If it's well, no, don't never use an affirmation that with a word that you don't want. So don't say, I don't like or I don't allow chaos because then your subconscious hears chaos. Say things are always peaceful. It's nice to be peaceful. It's being peaceful is my normal state. I only allow peace into my life. That's what I would focus on if I were you, Peter. I'm Peter. I'm going to be the best friend and nurture my inner child, not just for this. Yes, we're always nurturing our inner children. They're literally a part of us. And the more you realize that, like the easier it is to catch these bad habits and these bad patterns and these thoughts that are taking over. And you just nurture. You're just like, hey, you're you're safe. You're safe. You're supported. You're loved. That's it. You know? So yes, that's a great thing to do. My point is once you realize fear is just a feeling to be overcome, you realize that it's false as well. Yeah. And like I would replace personally the word overcome with release. Like you just let it go. Just like the book Letting Go, it talks about, or Joe Dispenza, all these people talk about it in different ways. But at the end of the day, you are letting go, releasing the fear, any fear-based states. So shame, guilt, even grief, and just fear in general, negativity, self-doubt, doubt, like all of those things you notice that they're there. So we don't want to suppress them or like, I got to overcome this, like that type of thing, because it's like fighting against it. What we resist persists. But it's just like, I can acknowledge that it's there and that I don't need it. I could let it go. And it's actually going to be easier if I let it go. Right. Because if you're fearing something, it's keeping it alive and it's activating more of it, right? Even though we're told our programming is it's like, oh, you got to fear this thing and you, oh my God, and you got to do this. And like the ego wants to take over and try to control everything when the answer could be right in front of you. Or God's just trying to like let it fall in your lap, like the solution. So we want to let go of the emotions that don't serve us. And really all emotions are energy and motion. So they're going to come and go. But especially, we don't want to create a feedback loop where we keep holding on to fear, holding on to fear. We want to let it go. Like, okay, yeah, I used to fear that, but now it's not. Using the remember when technique. Oh yeah, in the past I used to, but I'm not like that anymore. And the biggest part of the I remember when technique is that you focus on now. Now I'm like this. That's so great that I'm so relaxed now. It's so great that I could go to bed peaceful at night. It's so great that all my relationships are loving and supportive. And it's so great that I'm very healthy now and I have the body composition. It's so great. Even if you don't, I do that for weight loss a lot because really, and people are like, "Oh my god, is that true?" No, yes, your cells are always communicating with you, and so if you tell your body something like, I'm healthy, you will be healthy," or "I'm healing," whatever it is. I like to say I'm just healthy. They've done a lot of research like this with like cancer patients and different like if you just say, "Okay, I love my health. I love this," like it you're training your body to be a certain way. So even if you're working on getting to a certain body composition, I would already say like, "Oh, I weigh this much and I do blah blah blah." I've helped so many people get to their weight loss goals so much faster just by saying that. Oh yeah, just identifying with it. Your identity is so powerful. So be careful and be very aware of what you're saying about yourself and what you're identifying with. Um Yeah, it's a feeling, it's a false evidence appearing real. Peter, good call on repeating the positive affirmation. Good. Yes. That is something you get to focus on. And actually, like I obviously recommend to everyone. I'm gonna start doing more like little videos about like shorts and reels about affirmations because it's a really good way to program your brain. Um on a different note, if you're already aware, are you still blurry? So maybe oh god. Oh, not again. I'm sorry, guys. Um, I did have someone come fix the internet, but good. I'm glad you like affirmations. Yeah, I'll do more content about it. Sorry it's blurry. Yes, the internet guy. Oh my god. I just like Verizon internet needs a pep talk. God, audio's fine. Sorry about this, guys. Yeah, it's just this ongoing thing. It's very annoying, but it will be fixed. And that'll be my thing that I focus on. My internet works perfectly. And we're going to make sure for Soothing Sundays that it is so good and crystal clear. And I apologize for that. Well, on that note, I'm going to wrap up and run another test on my internet and complain to my internet provider until it gets solved because I'm resilient like that and I'm persistent until the solution comes. Um, well, so great to see all of you. Love you guys. I'm so happy for all of your wins. Keep them up. Let's finish the rest of this week strong. And I can't wait to, boom, I can't wait to hear about the rest of your guys' week. And of course, let me know if you have any other questions as for Soothing Sundays. And I'll see you on Soothing Sundays, which is 5 p.m. Sunday Pacific Standard Time. You're awesome too. Thank you. Love you guys. Mwah.